So on a recent project, I was working in Tuvalu and specifically in one of the most northern islands of the country. On these islands at the moment they've got diesel mini-grids, but they have a lot of trouble with the reliability of supplying diesel, and it's because of all these transportation issues. So if there's bad weather, sometimes you can't actually get the fuel there at all because you can't unload the boat, or if there's bad weather then the boat can't travel, so sometimes you can be running out of diesel and it might be weeks and weeks before another ship can come to bring more. So these islands have a constant problem with running out of fuel. So what they really want to do is get away from a situation where they're relying on the fuel and have a solar system where they can rely on the sun, and they won't be running out of power every time there's bad weather.
So if you talk about reliable supply from technical aspect, if the peak load is, let's say, 10, then you have to spare about 20%. So 12 power that it's have to be there to have so-called reliable supply. None of any Indonesian island now have that criteria reliable supply.
But learning from the small scale and trying to scale up, because we want numbers in terms of responsibility. We have 245 million population, and we have 17,000 islands, which only 7,000 islands, we're still big, that we need to fulfill our job to be able to give them a proper energy supply and also clean and water supply, sanitation for them.
In small island communities in the Philippines, drinking water supply is usually sourced from rainwater. In communities like in Tawi-Tawi, in fact, the only source of drinking water is rainwater. But in other bigger islands, you could also find spring. So we try to develop these water sources, make it potable for people to drink.
During dry season, the people from most of the islands need to travel 7 hours just to fetch water from the bigger islands. I think energy plays also an important part in delivering water supply, because there are technologies that needs energy.
And also it all comes down to the energy needs of the community. One of the energy needs we found out, one is light. And then once you introduce people to lights, the energy needs increase, energy demand increase. They want to have access to communication, what's going on around the world. And also all of them have access to mobile phone, and most of these mobile phone have installed radio in it. And they can listen to music or even listen to the most important news, that is weather warnings, or cyclone warnings or hurricane warnings that are issued by their government or their metro office. This women's group, the 2 technicians and the 2 youths that were trained with them, they have been given the guidance and the knowledge from the technician on what to do when they hear the weather warnings. So if there's a cyclone warning or a hurricane or flood, they know what to do to safeguard that solar panels.
Because each of these islands doesn't have a proper harbour, it's just got a coral reef with a channel through it. So the boat can't actually unload its equipment directly onto the island. What you need to do is take out a really small boat and then unload the equipment into the small boat, which then runs in through the reef. So that's all fine when the weather's good, but when the weather's bad, you've got the big boat moving around like this and the small boat moving around like this. There's water everywhere, and then the small boat has to navigate its way into the channel, and this is all very, very challenging for people getting to and from the island, and also for equipment.
One thing we should keep in mind, we should move away from the handout mentality. For the communities, it's okay that people have been, in the past, that has been the practice of giving out things to the community, but if you look at of some projects, some experience, these projects fail because of no backup maintenance. It all comes down to the finance bit, the availability of funds to maintain this technology. So for us, like for this project, if people pay something from their pocket, of course they'll value it.
It's not totally different from what a person living in the urban centers needs. Energy needs are the same. So it is important that people out there in the island are also given the opportunity to have access to modern energy services.